So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to find the derivative of this function f of x equals the square root of 3x squared plus 4. And so the first thing I'm going to do before I begin to evaluate the derivative is I am going to rewrite it. So I've got f of x equals, and I'm going to change it. Instead of being a square root, we know that when something is a square root, that's the same as raising it to the 1/2 power. So 3x squared plus 4 raised to the 1/2 power is the same thing as the square root of 3x squared plus 4. And now as we look at this problem, I've got a function, an entire function being raised to a power. And so what I notice is I've got to do the chain rule on this problem. So I'm going to take the 1/2, so I've got f prime of x equals, I'm going to take the 1/2 and multiply it by the 1 that's understood to be in front. So I've got 1/2 times, and then I'm not going to change what's inside the parentheses, 3x squared plus 4. And then I'm going to reduce the power by 1. Well, 1 is the same thing as 2 over 2, and that'll get me a common denominator. And so 1/2 minus 2 over 2 is negative 1/2. But now what I've got to do is take into consideration what the derivative of the inside is. So here's the inside of my function. Now I'm going to ignore the outside, and I'm simply going to take the derivative of the inside and multiply it to this. And that's why they call it a chain. It's kind of like it keeps going. And so as I look right here, 3x squared plus 4, if I want to find the derivative of that, well, the derivative of 4 is a constant. It's 0. And so really all I'm deriving is 3x squared. So the derivative of 3x squared is 6x. And so now I'm done. This is the derivative of the original function. Now, what I always tell students is if the original function has a square root, then your answer ought to have a square root. So we need to, what I call, pretty this up. Okay, so I've got f prime of x equals, and I'm going to write this as 1 over 2, but I'm going to take all of this right here and move it to the bottom of the fraction because it has a negative exponent. So when you have something that has a negative exponent, if you move it from the top to the bottom, it'll make that exponent positive. And so I'll have 3x squared plus 4 all to the 1/2 power. Now this 6x remains on top right here, so I'm going to put times 6x. Now we've still got a lot of work to do. Next, what I'll do is I'm going to write f prime of x equals, and this 6 and this 2, 6 divided by 2 is 3, so on top all I'll have is 3x over, and the 2 canceled, and so on bottom, when I raise something to the 1/2 power, it's the same thing as taking the square root, so I'm going to write the square root of 3x squared plus 4. And so now there's nothing left to simplify, and so this is my derivative.